Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Those, I mean, that's on. I mean, you're right on there. Being specific and and again, something that for me that was key is being specific and being measurable. Man, that's huge. I mean, your goal. How are you going to track this thing? I mean, you're saying you want to do it, but is it truly measurable? And when somebody asked me that, it kind of challenged me a little bit because I'm like, hold up, what you mean is it measurable? But in reality, I'm stating what I want to do. But if it's not measurable, I don't truly have a plan on how to do it.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of step back and like, oh, how can I make this measurable? And by making it measurable, I was able to set up those steps that were more specific that allowed me to reach my goal. And at the end of the day, by taking those steps, I saw progress. And if you see the progress, then ultimately you're inching closer and closer to your goal. So those were the things that I've learned that are so important. And it's awesome that Pastor Julian is bringing those things out. But they're definitely they're true, they're tried, but they need to be more practiced by everybody. Because again, if you don't practice these things, then you'll find yourself in a place where you're wanting to move forward, but unfortunately, a lot of people just don't know how to. That makes sense, Pastor Glenn.
It definitely does. You almost find yourself going in a circle, you know, trying to reach something, and you just find yourself just keep going in circles, keep going in, almost like the Israelites. You're going in circles and you never reaching your goal. And as you were saying, your goals have to be reachable. Each step. Okay, I know I can reach this, and keep. I think that's the higher you go, you're able to reach. You're able to follow through with what you're trying to accomplish. So yes, that's definitely important.
Yeah,
And
man.
another thing, what that does when we be real specific, it makes when people ask it makes our journey teachable. You
Mm,
know, so it
mm.
gives us the ability to go back and say, hey, I think Pastor Julian was stressing a couple of times. You got to write this thing down. You know, sometimes if you don't want to write it down and if it's not documented, then how are you going to teach somebody else? Hey, this is what I did. And then from there, it become repeatable. And something that's repeatable is
Sure.
something that can end up, growing and allowing people to, get out of their situation
Yeah.
because they'll look at your outcomes, but then with the outcomes, you give them a journey or a pathway to get it done.
Right.
I,
If
I think
if you can't write it down, a lot of times you cannot write it down to your thoughts, right? Then that means you have not hashed it out in your mind enough to where it really will go to work for you. If I cannot explain a vision that I have or a goal that I have to my child, then I still need some more. I have to some more work to do in order to gain that type of clarity to where I can speak it. And with us, with us being pastors, most of us being pastors, uh, uh, um, Carlos is a worship pastor. I'm gonna give you the title worship pastor tonight. When you're leading a people, I'm messing with you. When you're leading a people, you have to be able to give them clarity. But you are a principal. Same thing. And when you're a principal, you have to be able to give people clarity, because if you don't give them clarity, I promise you they're gonna make up something to fit into those gaps. And then you come up showing up, you like, man, why did you do that? Why did you say that? It's because you did not give clarity, enough clarity. And sometimes when you do give clarity, they still try to make up a gap. So you got to be careful even there, you know. But yeah, you have to be able to write it down. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Pastor Glenn. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I just wanted to add. It's almost when you write something down. I remember starting the ministry, and I began to write stuff down. The name of the church, the time, and just different things I wrote down. And just to go back and look and say, wow, I accomplished this, I accomplished that. You're able to, once you write it down and go back and just, even now I go back and look at some of the things that I wrote down in, 8 years ago, looking at it now, it's like, whoa, man, this got accomplished that. So I think it's definitely so important, just for you to go back and look and say, I accomplished this. Wow. God allowed me to accomplish these goals that I have, the vision that I have, that he have given me. So yeah, definitely.
All right. So I want to ask y'all this, because we talked about it a little bit, and we don't always make plans for this. But when it comes to, we talk about this more next week too, when it comes to sexual marketplace, have you made plans to spend time with your wife? Do you make plans to spend time with your wife or your spouse?
I think I'm gonna say I have recently made plans. I'm gonna say we always go on a trip, because we know, okay, we do one with the kids, do one with just us. But now dating more, I think that I have, like, my eyes have came open. Okay, you need to do that more. So yeah, I think so. I have.
Yeah, it's important, man. When I was thinking about this, I had to really look and say, okay, I need to make plans to have a consistent dating my spouse agenda, dating my wife agenda. It needs to be consistent, just like, spending time with kids, it needs to be consistent. It needs to be it has to be part of the plan. And I have it over here. I have it written. I do have it written over here on my vision board. It's written. And so like then when they come in, they see it. My kids come, they write extra stuff to it. They've added some stuff to it, but yeah, I have a board over here where I have stuff written down. Yeah. What are you gonna say, Pastor Dunn, if I say something?
No. I like Pastor Glenn. I've always done good with the vacationing thing, but with the dating thing, honestly, I gotta step my game up some, just to make sure, because I find myself sometimes, because of my agenda, because of everything, getting lost in work and getting lost in the hustle and bustle. And, I don't never want to get lost in my relationship with my wife. So that's where I got to kind of really make sure I add those times, because as you see, as you go through life, you don't want to lose. And I don't want to lose. That's something I don't want to lose. I don't care what nobody says. I don't want to lose my baby. I love my wife. So, hey, at the end of the day, I got to do what I need to do to stay connected. So that's just me. I'm sorry. I just had to say it the way I see it.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I want to ask Carlos so bad. I want to ask you, Carlos, do you have a plan? Do you have a plan as you date? You're a single man. Do you have a plan in regards to how you date or whatever? Do you kind of, we talking about marriage, but do you have a plan, when you date, or who you might date or who you may not date? How does it look? How do you think about that? What do you think about that?
More so now, yes, because I'm older, and so you have to go in specifically knowing what it is that you want. Because right now, I don't have time to play, right? 20s, 30s, yeah, but I'm over 40 now, and so at this stage of the game, you have to, and you should know by now what it is that you want. You can't spend another 10 years looking and guessing and asking questions. So yes, I got a plan.
Cool. Man, Carlos, Pastor Nick, Pastor Don, Carlos actually helped me to start doing keto. And I'm telling you, I've done a lot of working out and diets and stuff, but nothing has worked as good as keto, to where I was able to just really lose weight. It really, really helped me. And I stayed healthy, had more energy. Because I walk a lot. I do my little sit-ups and push-ups here at the house. But when I changed my eating habits, and I planned out stuff. And that's one thing when keto, when we go to the store, we have to plan out what we're going to eat, how much we need, and all that kind of stuff. And it's more expensive. It's more expensive to eat healthy. Isn't that crazy? It's more expensive to eat healthy and to do better, but it has to be done. So you got to sacrifice another area so you can get that done. Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. So any other thoughts or questions or comments y'all want to share before we jump off of here? Anybody? Okay. All right, and I'm grateful to have y'all. Listen, next week we're going to talk about navigating the sexual marketplace. So we're going to deal with some things on next week that deals with sex, dating, who to date, who not to date. We're going to deal with how to get through sexual addictions and those type of things. So I'm hoping that we have a good session on next week, overcoming some things. Yeah. Oh yeah. So we're recording this not just for us, but for others who will join us and also see some of these videos we're doing later. So I'm hoping that we have a good session on next week too. Yeah. All right. Nothing else. Love y'all until next week. See you, and y'all be empowered to then. All right.
Y'all be blessed. Good night.
Good night.
All right. Take care. Good night.
Good night.